We've all heard stories of mythical creatures that take on a human form, so let's have a Speculative mermaid themed one with SELKIES. Hey everyone! SELKIES are mythical creatures from Northern Europe that shift between a seal and human form by wearing or removing their skin, and their tales tell of how humans have abused this for their own gain, all of which would certainly be fun to speculate on for this episode. Please consider liking, helping and subscribing to help us seal the deal. And now, without further ado, let's get started! As seasons pass and the world changes with them, all living beings must find ways to adapt to the shifting conditions around them. And while many present quite noticeable variations in fur, body mass, and other physical traits, few have quite as dramatic a transformation as Phocanthropus brachyrhynchus. SELKIES are a species of northern European bear, and are among the most specialized ursines to ever exist, displaying a diversity of adaptations to a primarily aquatic lifestyle, including webbed hands and feet that help propel them across the water and a much more streamlined form, aided by large amounts of blubber that will also protect it from the cold water around it. Their ears are much more reduced than those of other bear species, and their snouts are much shorter and present stronger musculature as an adaptation to feeding on hard-shelled mollusks. With all of these adaptations, a SELKIE seen quickly and from a distance will more closely resemble a seal than it will a bear, especially as they swim near shallow waters. The appearance of these ursines is already a fascinating case of convergent evolution, but it is far from the end of the story as far as these animals are concerned. Every year, as soon as spring gives way to summer and the land grows warmer by the minute, SELKIES will approach the beaches of northern UK and the Scandinavian peninsula, where they will undergo an amazing transformation. This will be the perfect time for SELKIES to gather in great numbers, socialize and mate at their leisure, but they cannot do so while encumbered by their usual girth. Before the time arrives, the bodies of these animals will begin producing large amounts of blubber cortisol, causing their blubber to become softer and separating it from the surrounding tissue. Once they have reached land, SELKIES will dig a shallow pit in the sand, and as soon as they've finished this task, they will begin heaving violently. After a couple seconds, they will vomit pound upon pound of this blubber, quickly taking on the lanky, thin body that characterizes their summer look. They will only return to the spot they hid their blubber in once winter arrives, to consume it again and help them regain their full, water-dwelling figure. Of course, this means SELKIES must take measures to prevent their blubber from being taken before they have a chance to eat it again. The first of these defenses is the pit they dig. SELKIES will only emerge during the high tide, and will further waddle into land to ensure the sea will not claim their blubber before they do. They will then bury this precious substance, but a meager layer of sand will hardly be enough to trick the nose of a hungry animal. Many predators have been known to dig up the blubber of a SELKIE, but once they reach it, they will be greeted by a terrible surprise. This blubber has an absolutely terrible taste, thanks to special compounds produced by the bear's diet. Its taste is bad enough to stop any animal unlucky enough to nibble at it in its tracks, and it is unlikely they will ever try to have a second bite for as long as they live, no matter how hungry they may be. Finally, the SELKIES diet, which includes a diversity of plant-based food, including fruit and grains, will provide their blubber with large amounts of phenols and flavonoids. These metabolites have notable antimicrobial properties, and will ensure the blubber does not rot until they are ready to recover it. The way their bodies look during summer, along with their peculiar facial anatomy and skin patterns, have led to many people considering they have a noticeably humanoid appearance. Many times across history, people have attempted to capture SELKIES, not as prey, as their meat is hard and chewy and their blubber foul-tasting, but as curiosities, trying to sell or display them as sea elves or cursed and transformed human beings. While simply throwing a net over them is certainly effective, a much simpler and more widely used method involves waiting for them to arrive onto land and bury their blubber, after which they will simply dig up this blubber and lock it in a secure place. Once winter arrives, the Selkie will use its sense of smell to look for its own blubber, being lured towards wherever it is being kept, but unable to reach it. Deprived of their blubber, these animals would be unable to survive out in the cold seas, and so will have to stay inland while the rest of their species takes to the water. Stranded Selkies will need to find a place where they can rest and enter torpor, a metabolically depressed state, in order to resist the colder months. The barns and homes they have been lured to using their blubber will, of course, suffice for such a purpose. Yet, despite their diminished state, Selkies are nothing if not persistent, and will take every chance they have to eat as much as they can in an attempt to regain the nutrients they have been deprived of. While a slow and hard process, it is possible for Selkies to regain their lost mass this way in time, but it is not the only way. Guided by their sense of smell and their instinct, they will make constant attempts at regaining their lost blubber, and should they ever manage to find it, they will immediately consume it and escape to the seas. That said, not all interactions between Selkies and humans are as antagonistic as this. Many local populations, for instance, have begun a yearly season of helping feed the Selkies during the critical pre-winter season, as advancing urbanization makes it harder for them to find proper sustenance. While the intentions behind this are certainly noble, feeding wild animals can always have unforeseen consequences. These Selkies will quickly lose their fear of humans, and return year after year in an attempt to get more food from their benefactors, at times even harassing random passers-by that are not involved in this practice. While very few Selkie attacks have been reported in history, some areas have reported disappearances near the beaches where these animals dwell during Selkie season. Apocryphal stories about Selkies helping drowning humans reach land notwithstanding, it is still recommended to keep the distance with this and with any other wild animal. In any similar case, helping an individual animal is always worthwhile, but it is always best to help recover and protect their natural environments so that they need no such help at all. And that's it for Speculative Biology look into Selkies. So let's address the elephant seal in the room first. One of the funnest parts of this was trying to figure out how a natural species could turn from a seal-like appearance to a humanoid one, and this idea proposed by our patron Alec worked really well, with some patterns and specialized cranial anatomy helping give them an even more humanoid appearance. This also helped us avoid just making them aquatic hominids, which I'm sure would be appealing to some, but I wanted to try my hand at something a bit more creative, as well as avoiding just having it be a literal transformation caused by one of the many types of transforming fungi we've seen on the channel, or by a similar phenomenon. I, for one, am glad to break away a bit from crazy transcriptomics and horizontal gene transfer. Sometimes the transformations can be less literal, and that's alright. And then there's the icky part, as many tales of Selkies speak of how humans stole their skins to force the Selkie to become their wife and or husband, which is some weapons grade oof. The tales are extremely specific about the Selkies not wanting to be there. But because the universe is a merciful place, we had a chance to leave that completely out of our version by virtue of having them not turn into actual humans. Be not mistaken, kidnapping and exploiting a wild animal is not great either, but at least it wasn't that icky. So I hope y'all had fun with this episode. I truly do, because there were quite a bit of people asking to see it. Thank you all so much for your comments and suggestions. And also, thank you to our researchers and research associates who support us with their hard-earned money through Patreon and YouTube memberships. Remember, you too can join in if you want to support our channel, and you get some nice perks too, like seeing all of our creatures and videos ahead of time and helping mold them into shape over on our Patreon Discord. Or you can also like, subscribe, or write a comment telling me any type of creature you would like me to give the Spekibo treatment in the show. Any of those really help the channel a lot. Thank you all for watching, and see you next time on the Speculative Wildlife Research Center.